Thank you, Apostolos. Thank you for the invitation. First of all, I will say something that is connected to my presentation to Ross. Ross, he was very lucky when he spent time on board ships because he had a company and the environment to allow him, when he was a junior officer, I presume, to challenge people's decision on board ships. Myself, and I'm pretty much sure that many of you in this room, that you have sailed on board Greek ships back in the 90s, you will not, most probably you would not have this chance. And I will share a personal, let's say, thing that, when I started back in 1992, the captain was God. And you couldn't even look at him in the eyes. You had to ask his permission to enter the officers' lounge, for example. Fortunately, these things are changing, and we are towards a new era. So that was a very, just an introduction. So what I'm going to touch upon a bit today is the power distance in decision making, and I think it is connected to all what my colleagues said before. So without further ado, I will start. I will skip a bit the marketing thing. I'm pretty much sure what the UK P&I is and what kind of services we provide our members with. I will just take into the part that here in Greece, and sorry guys, John and Ross that are here, I'm the only loss prevention officer for an IG P&I club. None of our other clubs, IG P&I clubs, do have a specific officer here in Greece speaking Greek directly to members. So, anyway, these are the number of crew injuries files the club opened for policy year 22-23. This is the current policy year. You will see that we have 610 incidents, and on monetary terms, because we are an insurance company, we have reserved and settled about $12.5 million US. Having gone through those incidents, we came to two major conclusions. The first one is situational awareness, the lack of situational awareness actually, that actually led all those incidents to occur, and sometimes, many times, what we are going to discuss about power distance. So, keeping that in mind, what is power distance? Power distance refers to the extent to which individuals in a society accept and expect unequal distributions of power. It's a concept that helps us understand how people relate to authority and hierarchy in different cultures and organizations. I will give you an example. I was thinking to give you an example about family, but I will go a bit more exotic, I would say, and I will refer to Star Wars. I'm pretty much sure that most of you've watched something about Star Wars. Is this correct? Has somebody never seen anything about that?
Can you do, House of Dragon or maybe Game of Thrones?
No, I think Star Wars is a very nice example of, power distance, and I would refer to Darth Vader, of course, and the most recent one, the Ahsoka saga, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and how, those people interact with their subordinates, whereas I would say the rebels have a different way of approach in leadership. So maybe, this power distance that we're going to talk about today actually led the empire to lose. So that's an example. I will not stay in the family, it's, and of course, is, the power distance is not only that, but also, is a cultural thing, I would say. And we will see later on why I'm saying this. So, how does power distance affect us? First of all, it affects our communication. In high power distance cultures, people may use more formal language and show deference to authority figures. In contrast, in low power distance cultures, communication tends to be more direct and informal. Recognizing these differences can help us to communicate effectively with people from diverse backgrounds. And yes, shipping is a very diversified industry. You know, is a global industry, multicultural, multilingual crews nowadays on board ships, which is a good thing. So we need to understand these things. Second, the power distance actually impacts our decision making. In high power distance settings, decisions often come from top to down, and subordinates may not feel comfortable enough to offer input. In low power distance settings, decision making can be more collaborative, with input from various levels within the organization. Third, it influences leadership styles. Leaders in high power distance cultures may be seen as more authoritative and distant, while leaders in low power distance cultures may adopt a more, a participative and approachable style. An example, and I will talk more in the near future about power distance, is, the pilot-master communication and the pilot-master and crew communication during approach sport, etc., etc. So what you're going to see here is part of research made about different nations. Actually, it is not for seafarers, it's for the whole societies of those natures. Nevertheless, your crew members, our crew members, come from those societies, so we can have some very useful things taken from here. So who did this research? Gerhard Hofstede, sorry for not pronouncing correct, I'm not speaking Dutch. So he's a psychologist. He used to be an IAB employee, and he did the pioneer research as far as cross-cultural groups and organizations are concerned. He's best known for developing one of the earliest and most popular frameworks for measuring cultural dimension in a global perspective. He had 6 dimensions. We're going to touch upon comparison of power distance first, and then another one. We'll not go through all the rest of it. So, comparison of power distance index, comparing top seafaring nations in the world. This, you can go online and actually compare different, they have hundreds, very many other than these seafaring nations. You will see that the median range about power distance is something less than 40. I will talk about Greeks because I'm Greek. You can go through and check your own crew members, or if you would like to check somebody else. So, at 60, this is our index, I'm talking about Greeks only, we have an intermediate score, but it strongly indicates a tendency to the higher side of power distance index. That means society in general, Greek society in general, believes hierarchy should be respected, and it is not equal amongst people, and in this hierarchy should be respected, and inequalities amongst people are acceptable. That means we as Greeks believe that somebody with power maybe has, he's always right. So the different distribution of power justifies the fact that power holders have more benefits than the less powerful in society. In Greece, and this is a fact, it is important to show respect to the elderly, and children take care of their elderly parents. I think we do that as a nation. It is in our culture, and we bring this culture on board ships. In companies, and most probably you have lived this, it is one boss who takes complete responsibility. One should never forget that in the mind of Greeks, all other cultures in the Western world inherited something from the ancient Greek culture. Status symbols of power are very important in order to indicate social position and communicate the respect that could be shown. On the other hand, Scandinavian countries such as Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and then Australia, their index is relatively low, below median, around 20. And once again, this is different culture. Apostolos, I will make a remark here. I have 2 minutes more. I don't think that I will go a bit more on that. Anyway, so this is the uncertain...
You don't.
No, I will go more.
I'm afraid between you and the lunch break,
we prefer the lunch break, so we'll be very, very quick then. So this is the Uncertainty Avoidance Index, which is a society's acceptance of imperfections. And here, ladies and gentlemen, Greeks have the highest score, 100. There is no other nation higher than us. So, what does this mean? That means that Greeks are not at all comfortable in ambiguous situations. The unforeseen is always there ready to lay ambush where suspicious. The sword of Damocles, Damocles Pathi, impending over the head of all of us can illustrate this anxious and stressing feeling about life. In Greece, as in all high uncertainty avoidance societies, bureaucracy, laws and rules are very important. Yes, believe it or not, we believe in the laws to make the world a safer place to live in. We need to have good and relaxing moments in our everyday life, chatting with colleagues, enjoying a long meal or dancing with guests and friends. And you know, due to this also, we are very passionate and demonstrative people. And sometimes this behavior is not taken, you know, from their counterpart. Some, you know, they don't like it a lot. They are afraid of us, I would say. So, now culture. The culture of a group is affected by attitudes, beliefs, and habits. Importantly, it also affects the forms of communication of a certain group of people. And there are certain ways that human behavior is affected. I will skip, you know them, I mean religion, language, etc. Other influences in the way we behave is the professional culture, company safety culture, ship's culture, military culture, etc., etc. As I mentioned before, mixed cultural teams are here. The crew members that we have now on board ships do not come from one nation only, but we have people coming from different nationalities. I used to work on board cruise ships, and we used to have on board, if I recall correctly, my last ship was 87 different nationalities, and Greeks were the minority. Nevertheless, the vessel was going very, very well. Multicultural vessels are the best to my mind. So communication is difficult, and sometimes the master on board ships, the leader, has to communicate with very many different people, shore officials, officers, crew, ship managers, superintendents, surveyors. So
time is up.
The time is up, okay. So anyway, I will skip some things. You may appreciate that this issue is very important and it needs to be addressed. And actually I will skip all of it and I will talk to you for a minute. Not more than that. Less than a minute, okay. So anyway, it is an issue that needs to be addressed, and we all agree that our crews nowadays, actually ship management companies do their best to train their crews and find the best qualified crews to come on board. Nevertheless, we give the way to that, which is the hard knowledge. Yes, the person has to know how to use the ECTIS, how to use the crane, how to use everything on board. But we do not pay attention, to the softer skills that people need to be on board. And power distancing is something that needs to be eliminated in order to be able to have safer ships. Apologies for not being able to give you the full presentation. I'm at your disposal afterwards for any questions. Apostolos, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.